Welcome to another episode of Alpha and Omega, a show that covers everything from A to Z, or Alpha to Omega, as it would be. Today with us, we have a guest, Father Kevin Penkalski. He's a local Arizona boy, recently was ordained to the Catholic priesthood on June 6th, 2020, not too long ago. He's here with us today on the show. Welcome, Father Kevin.
It's a pleasure to see you.
Hey, we have got some questions from our studio audience. I'm going to jump right into it. The first question, who is your favorite saint?
That's a good question. So I'm going to preface it by saying that the Mother of God is above this question. That should be everyone's favorite saint, but my personal favorite saint is Saint Therese of Lisieux. You know, an 19th century French nun from a little tiny town of Lisieux. She died when she was 24 from tuberculosis, most famously known for her little way. And the little way is kind of misunderstood sometimes. You know, it can be said that you do little things with great love, and that's a fruit of the little way. But Therese would always say that it's the attitude of nothing but confidence in love. Confidence in the Father's love for us, and loving the Father in return. So she's definitely on my list. She's teaching me how to be perhaps a little priest here in Buckeye in one of the largest parishes in the diocese.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about Therese of Lisieux and all of the saints of the last 200 years is that you can actually get photographs of them and see this was a real person. I think sometimes people think, you know, a saint like St. Augustine, okay, here's an icon or a painting, but, you know, for modern people to say, no, here's a picture. She really lived. She was a simple girl, and saints aren't fantasy figures.
No, absolutely not.
Here's another question. Someone just would like to know, who are some of your favorite authors or books, if you care to share, or maybe a subject that you like to read about?
Yeah, reading's one of my hobbies. I find it a good way to just kind of decompress after a long day. So if I would have to kind of break it down into two categories, fun reading and like work reading, I love reading Mariology. So I love reading authors that kind of describe the theology of Mary and how she fits into the greater scheme of the church. I also love just to read like fantasy. So a reader that I'm getting into right now is, I believe his name is E.E. Knight or N.N. Knight or something like that. He writes like fantasy books about dragons and how they kind of interact with the ecology and the world, and it's just a fun read where you just kind of put your book down. Like, I needed to escape just from the world for a little bit.
And if you read him before you go to bed, his name is Good Night.
Good Night.
Off into space. Man, that takes real teamwork. And here's a team of junior spacemen with an out-of-this-world breakfast that teams up V8 juice and Cheerios for flavor and energy. What a treat! A flavorful glassful of refreshing V8 juice and Cheerios with power protein, plus vitamin B1 for Go Power. And now, here's a special out-of-this-world free offer. This Moon Rocket Kit, both a toy and an exciting game. First, blast off. It separates in midair and lands 2 spacemen on a moon map. You get this wonderful game only through this free offer. Send your name and address and 1 V8 label plus 1 box top from these specially marked packages of Cheerios, Kix, or Frosty-O's to Moon Rocket Kit, Mount Vernon 10, New York. Get Campbell's V8 cocktail vegetable juice with any one of these Big G cereals.
Absolutely.
Here's another question. Again, remember, this is the Alpha and Omega show. We cover subjects from A to Z, and so now we're going to move on to like Theta or something. Someone wants to know if you've, what's your opinion or impression or understanding of non-Catholic religious or praise worship, or if you've ever attended any kind of evangelical or charismatic service, anything like that.
So, excuse me, goodness. So I would definitely say that I have attended charismatic stuff, but within the realm of the Catholic Church. So I'm actually good friends with another priest you all may get to know here soon, but Father Frankie Cicero, if I ever get him out to Buckeye just to visit for a little bit. But praise and worship within the Catholic Church has been kind of an experience that I've had. I've never experienced it outside of the church. I think it's a beautiful way to pray. However, there's a difference between offering a sacrifice of praise through praise and worship and maybe just some expressive prayer, and then what we do as Catholics, especially the idea of what's central in our life as Catholics through sacrifice, through the Eucharist. On that note, I have attended a couple of Eastern Orthodox liturgies and some other prayer services. I find it very beautiful, a very wonderful way to just kind of bridge the gap in a way and to keep a line of communication open.
Like how Pope John Paul II said the church breathes with two lungs, the Eastern Church and the Western Church, and there's something to be garnered and learned from the Eastern Church.
Amen.
Very spiritual. They have a different way of looking at liturgy. We're more linear. They're more sort of circular.
Oh, absolutely.
To the point where if you're in the Eastern Orthodox Christian community, you can come to church late. They don't consider it late because if it's like a circle,
it just
at what point does it begin?
Right. No,
for us, however, if you don't get there before the penitential rite, you're late. Hey, we need to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Can a watch survive the Niagara Falls test? Attached to this heavily weighted ball, can this watch take the full impact of the rocks and rapids? It's going over, watch it, down into that raging torrent, buffeted and jolted by the force of that terrific current. And here it is, still ticking away, the world's greatest watch value. I'm Lyle Van, I'm a newscaster, and I covered this Niagara Falls story. This is the watch. The 17-jewel Bulova clipper, handsome, rugged, in the charm and color of natural gold. Winds automatically with just the slightest motion of your wrist. It's anti-magnetic and features this handsome expansion band. Now the Bulova clipper is yours to try for 2 entire weeks before you pay 1 cent. Yours on the easiest of terms. Complete price from only $49.50.
Welcome back to Alpha and Omega, a show that covers everything from A to Z. That's what Alpha and Omega means, except it would actually be everything from A to O, I think. Anyway, today with us, we have our guest, Father Kevin Penkalski, who has recently been assigned to St. Henry Catholic Church in Buckeye, Arizona. Welcome again, Father Kevin. We're asking some questions from our studio audience. Here's a question new priests are often asked. When did you get your calling? When did you get your invitation to be a priest? When do you think that started?
I think it really started when I was about 16 in confession. I experienced the grace of the mercy of the Lord. You know, there are certain things that you just really can't confess to God alone. You need the church to minister that to you. So I really think it began there and kind of reached a conclusion or a birthing, you could say, in a way, when I was 18 and I experienced the Lord's presence in the Eucharist.
Yeah, the sacraments often work that way, as being vehicles through which young men hear that call or the beginning of that call.
Absolutely.
We got one final question here, and it comes to us from somebody in our men's group. They want to know if you ever did anything silly, weird, or mischievous while you were studying to be a priest.
Short answer to that is no. I kind of
He was perfect.
No, I was not. I like to keep my nose down and out of trouble. But I will say that seminarians are guys like anyone else. We did love practical jokes and pranking. It just wasn't my scene. Silliness and weirdness, that's right up my alley, though. So I definitely was doing weird things. You guys can ask me a story a little bit later on. I'll tell the full story when I gave myself a tonsure for a football game that my college seminary was a part of. And a tonsure, like the ring around the head.
Shaved the top of your head.
I shaved
like
the
a
top
Franciscan
of my head.
monk.
Yep, and forgot to put sunscreen on.
That's a dedicated fan.
That was not a pleasant day.
Turned very red. Probably looked like he had a Cardinals hat.
Oh yeah, no, I walked around.
You could be in the Cardinals. We can get everybody to tonsure themselves, get sunburns, and we'll be the Cardinals.
Let's say we did and really don't do it.
That's a great idea for free tickets.
There we go.
That's all the time we have today for the Alpha to Omega show. Thanks to our guest, Father Kevin Penkalski. Next week, be here when I interview a very mysterious and secret guest.